with the week of May 7th, kind of review and a preview of the week of May 14th, Friday, May 14th, 2021 going forward. Wild week to review. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy good info on breaking news on Tesla as well as trading ideas, I highly recommend that you join us on Patreon. And for the highest tiers, we also have charting on a daily basis, as well as other information that will very much help in your investing/trading Tesla. So first of all, let's review this week because it was kind of crazy. In particular, there was a situation that I was amazed by where Tesla sort of established a trading range between $650 and about $700 a share. The problem that popped up, though, was that there were sort of news flashes that were shifting the stock dramatically. The first part of the news flash for the early part of the week was that there was an announcement that Tesla was actually going to be 6 months late on delivery of vehicles from the German factory. So what this led us to then is this interesting zone where all of a sudden we thought everything was fine in Germany and learned that Tesla is currently in a preliminary stage and does not have approvals to actually do production. And so there are other sort of data points that resulted in impactful circumstances on this. And basically the argument was that there was no problems as stated by a German minister. And then Elon actually did point out that we're in a situation where we can't get approvals at the speed that we would like to have them. So therefore we're in this situation. So where we are now, so then that news blended in, resulted in the stock falling 20 or 30 points. And then as we were looking for a follow-on of that, it was announced that Tesla sold out for the quarter of vehicles. And so this is another data point that sort of pushed things kind of back up temporarily. And so it's been a very, very wild ride for Tesla. And we've been working to document all of it, hows and whys. And the answer I came up with was we had below 700 for the week, definitely above 650. And the market makers were really trying to get it below 670, unsuccessful on the close on Friday. But it was clear that they made every effort to do so. So now where are we at? Where are we headed? Heading into week number 2 of May. Well, I think that where we're headed is if we're not getting powerfully impactful news that's sweeping in, there's a process that one might digest the news that has come in. So basically, I think what you're going to find is that the analysts who got the news of Tesla actually selling everything out for Q2 has been going from dealership to dealership or even looking online to determine if they can order cars within the next couple of weeks. If the answer to that is no, then we should see the stock where it's at 670 and possibly test 700, even though we have a lot of calls at 700 that would hold it down from not maybe going through 700, but not staying above 700 through the week based on how the market makers want things to go. I would say the biggest surprise of the week of May 7 was watching the power of 650 puts to push Tesla stock price up above 650 nicely, despite its threat to go there. And I really think that it shows the importance of developing a feel for how the stock trades now, etc. Now, speaking of the fact that there's kind of a new sheriff in town in terms of how one trades or invests Tesla successfully, I would have to say that we're seeing a large number of changes that represent how is one to sort of get comfortable with the new reality of Tesla in terms of how things are working. And I'd have to say the biggest one that I'm seeing is something I call dog trading. And so where dog trading comes from is there's a friend, acquaintance who's a heavy trader, and he likes to make money, as do we all. But his process is very different. His strategy is capital preservation along with small bursts of profit. So whether it be a put or a call, there's a process you can do where you're basically doing what's called scalping. So in the good old days of 2 months, 3 months ago for Tesla, stock would start moving in a direction and stay in that direction for a good 20, 30, 50 points so you could make your money and get out. What it seems we've entered into is yes, you can get 2 to 5 points and get out happily and make a few dollars, and possibly go in and make the same number of points in the same direction on numerous occasions during the day. So Tesla's getting a 25-point trade day perhaps, but that trade day is seeing 5 or 10 points up, 5 or 10 points down, 5 or 10 points up, 5 points. You get some volatility, but the challenge is that trading options on it's very difficult because you have to be content to make the profit that one might get from a 3 to 5 point move and get out and then possibly get back in, but staying in and try to ride for the longer run is a lot more challenging. I would say the reason why it's the most challenging is it just looks like the market makers have a process where a lot to most of the profit and movement on the stock for a day tends to be divvied up among the market makers after market and pre-market, and by the time the market's open, there seems to be most of the eating for the day has gone to the market makers, leaving the regular consumers, I wouldn't say holding the bag, but unable to earn any money because that money has already been market maker consumed. I guess the example one could use is Friday, but as we know, Tesla rolled up into the 680 range, then fell back down to the 660, late 660s, and then mid 70s on its close. Some of the money was available, but again, the trend seems to be you have to have the courage to invest, trade, buy options overnight, and hold on to them. But the nightmare there is if you do overnight, new news could end up being very destructive. So what are the themes that we see continuing as we go into next week is what's happening with inflation. So when you wake up on a daily basis, it's a good idea to look to see what oil prices are because it's a proxy on what the other commodities are doing. So it can be a very useful tool to identify what the action is that's rolling to the market from how commodity prices are trading. On Friday was an interesting day because the fact that fewer jobs were created suggested that inflation wasn't as bad as expected and really gave a nice pop to all the growth stocks that have been taking a hit for quite a while as a result of expected inflation sort of reducing the spending power of both consumers and corporations. So where are we now? There's a concept that we're developing for a show, and I feel like it's starting to play out in the marketplace. There's an entity called Albemarle, and they're one of the largest, they're number 2 when it comes to lithium globally. They came out with earnings, and those earnings numbers were very good, but the guidance they gave for the year was kind of a flat rather than the increasing numbers that were expected. And I kind of feel like I have an idea why this is. So there's an increased demand that's going on for lithium, but the problem is that Albemarle and several other competitors have acquired land and circumstances where they can grow the amount of lithium they provide. But everybody is stuck in the same mode. They're sold out of what they have now. They're getting new production in place in terms of building out mines so they can source more lithium, but that won't come on stream for at least another 3 to 4 quarters, possible, and a lot of it it's a year and a half to 2 years out from coming into the marketplace. So the show we're kind of developing is looking at what the lithium availability is and how that hits the vehicle availability, because you really can't deliver a car without batteries. So I think it's a worthwhile look, because the question is, how do people handle this new circumstance that's emerging? So in general then, my sense of next week is people are really jumpy. The goal is, if inflation hits hard and then buries the market, all those computers and individuals are going to be jumping out of stocks as fast as they can. And even and especially the really good stocks, Apple, Tesla, and others that are doing well, are really getting hit as consumers slash the Fed impacts the environment with where interest rates end up heading. So I can't say this is a bombshell show, because it is, as I said, a review of the week and an anticipation of the coming week. Just a reminder for those of you who are serious investor traders, try to go in within 50 to 100 points of where the stock price is. Make sure you take time to start charting the number of calls and puts at key prices, i.e. 700, 650, maybe even 600, and understand sort of what the goal is of the market makers, because it'll big time help you out as you're trying to determine how to structure yourself going into the week. Not a lot of change from what we've been seeing, but as you know, Tesla can be unpredictable, with new news impacting what ends up happening. So we look forward to covering this for you, and we appreciate your visiting with us on our market update day. The final, so just a reminder, please remember to like and subscribe, and join us on Patreon if you'd like more information that would be helpful during the trading week. We also want to remind you of our health tips. As usual, we like to review a number of health tips that have been presented to us by professionals in different categories. The first one is, prior to lovemaking, do not forget a light salad or something of that ilk is a good idea, because it takes a blood flow to digest that food, and when it's digesting the food, it's not available for other extremities. The second thing is, for today, is to try out forest bathing. Idea is to get out for a hike or a walk in nature, allowing the presence of nature, the birds, the trees, etc., to really help drive your personal health circumstance. The third thing is to consider a 5-2 or one of the other fasting diets. I have to admit that I'm testing out some new ideas. One of our health professionals had recommended that we actually consider, or I consider 200 sit-ups a day and 100 push-ups a day, not all at once, maybe in 3 sessions during the day, and allowing this sort of core training to affect big time how your health is doing in terms of health management. For me, that also includes 20-minute to half-hour uphill bike rides twice a day as a way to help with cardio. So I wanted to sort of close out on this note today. We want to thank you for joining us once again. Tschüss, German, au revoir, French, Lehitro, Hebrew, Choda Hafez, Farsi, Strasvice, Russian, Ni hao ma, Chinese, and in Jamaica we say enough respect, walk good. Hey do, Swedish, good day, and namaste to our friends in India. Best of luck with the health challenges. Have a good day, and bye.